What's going on, y'all? This your boy, Chris Simmons, coming to you with another podcast episode. And as always, I'm with my partner in crime. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Miss Sandra Cruz. What's going on with you, girl? How you doing?
Hey, 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 nothing. Just enjoying the beautiful sun from my window.
All right, that's what's up. Yeah, it's sunny outside right now. It's supposed to be in the mid 70s today down here in that Atlanta, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Nice, beautiful day. Got to go outside. I'm gonna go outside later today, take my little walk and just enjoy the beautiful weather for real. So that's what we got going on. So yeah. So the weather is definitely nice down here for real. So yes, ma'am. So anyway, real quick, how was your weekend?
It was good. It was let's see, Friday I went to a party, and then Saturday I just stayed home all day. Got a little church in. I usually sometimes I go to church like face to face, but then this weekend I decided to watch a church from Atlanta. It's one of my favorite churches. And so they do a live on Facebook. So I kind of um just sat here and listened to it, and then kind of just moped around my not really moped around my house, but watched movies and just spent time with myself.
Okay.
And then yesterday kind of did the same thing too, and cooked and just spent time with myself reading. Read a lot.
Awesome. Awesome. Sounds like you
Yeah,
had a great weekend for real. That's what's up.
did.
Yeah, I had a pretty great weekend too. I know Friday, I did a lot of activities. I actually went back down to Midtown with my one friend, and we went to this restaurant called Atlantic Grill.
Ooh,
So that was really good. They had some. I had a really good Southern style burger. That was the bomb. Then we also hit up Top Golf afterward. That was fun. Had a really great time. Uh,
ooh.
so yeah, it was cool. Like my friend, she I remember I had to like we was like doing the Top Golf and everything, and I went first, and I remember like it was her turn. She was like, "Nah, I don't want to. I don't want to do it." I was like, "Man, come on now." So I had to, kind of show her a little bit, even though I'm not a golfer. And she kept thinking, "Oh, like you a golfer, like you actually play golf." I'm like, "No, I don't. Like I don't play golf. I just go to Top Golf and just hit the balls out in the open. That's it. But I don't. Yeah, I'm not a golfer, by the way. I've never
Yeah,
done
me
golf
neither.
in my life. So yeah, no, she thought it was that, but nah, I mean it was cool though. I got her to do it, and she was having fun, and it was a great time, really great time, just being down there for real, and yeah, it was pretty much the highlight of my weekend. So like I said, like had a really great time Friday, and Saturday and Sunday just took it easy for real. So yeah, so that was my weekend, man. Still really loving Atlanta, still loving the city and all that.
It's so interesting to listen to all the restaurants you go to. I'm a foodie, so I'm like, oh wait, what do they have there? And Atlanta's got a lot of good restaurants. Do you like Cajun food? Because if you like Cajun food, I would suggest going to Bonton. It's right across from Mary Mac's. They have like a cross between Asian and Cajun, and seafood. It is really good.
I have to see if my friend know about that, so we'll have to see. Uh, but yeah, now one restaurant I did go to recently, I went there with my aunt who took me out to eat for my post birthday lunch, and we went to this place called I think it's called Muss or Moose and Turners, however you say it. It's
Oh,
it's
that
this
sounds
is one
good.
place out in Smyrna. That is the bomb. Like that is one of the best restaurants I've had, other than Tasty Spoon. But Moose and Turners, that's the bomb. I mean, it's in the Smyrna area, and it's really, really good. I had another really good burger there, so I definitely recommend that one. And that was really good. So yeah, that's another good place I had. But yeah, I have to put that on my list. Like I'm still, like I said, I'm still trying to, find restaurants that, are good. Pretty much
Still explore.
pretty much most of the stuff I had over here is pretty good. But
Yeah.
but yeah, but yeah. But anyway, we're gonna get right into the episode today. I'm running on limited time today, but this is gonna be a really great one. Because I feel like this is something that we all need to work on for real. And we all need to like learn how to do for real. So what's gonna take place is Miss Sandra is gonna open up the episode and she's gonna talk about an experience. Like she's gonna give you an overview of like something that she experienced, and then we'll just continue to go from there. So, Miss Sandra, if you don't mind, go ahead and start off and tell the people
Yeah.
what's going on.
So, I mean, most of the people that know me know that I'm Christian and I do believe in God. Ever since I was small, my parents always told me, listen, in this household, whether you go to your father's church or my church, you're gonna go to church. And not because of that, but because I've seen what God has done for me in my life. Um, and the things that have taken place in my life, and I can only attribute it to God. I think over the past, I don't know how many years. I don't think we didn't see this in the 80s. Of course, I'm a little bit older than Chris. Shh, don't say anything. But I grew up in the 80s and 90s. And of course, we really didn't have internet. We didn't have any of that. So a lot of times, maybe perhaps this was going on, and maybe, I just didn't know about it. But, plenty of times I've expressed myself on social media, and I have found that I've been bullied by non-believers, and it's been quite shocking what I've seen. It's become a battle of you're wrong, I'm right, and when not being able to prove a stance or point, it's become a bullying situation. It's become a situation where they've bullied me, where they've treated me less than, where I've been brought down to believe, put down, not brought down, but put down. And it's quite discouraging when you're trying to have a conversation with someone and they're not wanting to listen because they just, in their head, what they thought and what they think is potentially right, not really realizing that there are other perceptions and views in this world. And it's quite discerning. I've gotten older now and I've learned, well, just not to argue with folks anymore, to kind of just say, okay, and kind of either kind of just pray for them. I mean, and I don't necessarily sit and say, Lord, rebuke them or anything of the above. I just pray that I can get along with them and by my actions be able to show them at least some sort of goodness, some sort of just a pleasant person. I personally don't want to be that. That is not my goal. But I've seen that happen a lot of times, Chris, and it's become quite discerning now that I see it so much on social media, like on just post after post, how people beat each other up and just make each other feel like they're nothing. A conversation is no longer being had. It is now, let's beat each other up. Let's make each other feel like you're not worth it. And let me tell you something, I won't lie. I've been there. I've been that person, whether it's political, whether it's anything. It could be not even about God, it could be political. It could be anything down to a stupid video about a car or a dog taking a poop, and there are people arguing, and it's true. I mean, you smile but you know this. People argue for no entire reason, and I've had that. And this weekend, that was one of my experiences, and I think I just sat back and observed, because my intention is not to go in it and argue with people. My intention, I used to be that. I used to be, oh, gotta argue. Now I took everything off this phone that has anything to do with politics, anything that has to do with the news. Basically, I just took it off because people were sitting there ravaging each other. Where's the sense of community? Where do we come in and say we love our brethren, our brother, or the next person, or where we really get along with people? It's just, I don't see it happening anymore. And this weekend, it took a heat when I saw all this playing out before my eyes. I was just like, whoa. It hit me more than ever, because before I was just kind of like, eh. But now I'm like, whoa, this actually happens, and on a bigger spectrum than we believe. And it's starting to happen not only on social media, but face to face as well. I mean, look at all these videos that we have of people just beating each other up unnecessarily, or not listening to each other, or getting involved in things that just don't pertain to them. I've seen it all. It's becoming way too common nowadays, Chris, and it's something that really hit home for me. I mean, I don't know if you've had this experience, but I know that I have, and it crushes me that we can't literally come out here and have a decent conversation with somebody because we all have different opinions, different views, and none of us can sit down and just say, I respect how you think. I respect what you believe. This is what I think and what I believe. No matter the subject. No matter.
Yeah. No, I was sitting here listening to this to what you were saying. It really hits home for me because it's like I see this like every day. It's like now that we got social media, now that we have all these different media outlets, we got TV, we got radio, we got internet, and every time you turn that stuff on, it's like everything is so negative now. It's like people are always arguing and going back
Yep.
and forth and trying to put people down because maybe they have a different opinion or viewpoint on something. And it's like that's one of the biggest issues in today's society is like we can't have no respectful conversations about differences. And sometimes we feel scared to express our differences because we're afraid that that other person is going to put us down, or nowadays they're gonna cancel you. Now we got cancel
Yeah.
culture to where it's like, oh, you don't agree with me, oh, we're gonna cancel you because you don't see the way that I see. So we're just gonna put you down altogether and just eliminate you out of society because you don't follow suit with everybody else. And that's been the biggest issue. And that's why there's like so much tension, in my opinion, with like, people
Absolutely.
arguing back and forth with each other. You mean I'm sure you probably see videos, people arguing in a parking lot. You see people like trying to go to war with each other. For what? It's like, why are we fighting each other, man? Why is it that we can't come together? And again, the conversation, this goes so deep, and I can go really deep into this, but I would probably go past the time limit because like I could talk about this all day, and
Yeah.
it's a whole issue as to why like we are trained to think like, oh, this person who is your neighbor is treated as your enemy. And it's sad how we can all live in the same community. Like you ever realize like nowadays, like you'll see your neighbor, you don't even speak to him. It's crazy like what you think because maybe your neighbor is a different race or a different ethnicity, and you automatically think, oh, this person a threat. Oh, I can't talk to him because he don't look like me. But we have been conditioned to think this way, and this is a part of the issue as to why we can't have subtle differences. We got race dividing us, we got religion dividing us, we got politics dividing us, we got like all these different factors dividing us. And again, we can't come together and have no respectful conversation because we feel
Right.
like because of what we have heard about certain beliefs or certain groups of people who believe this or think this, we think this is a threat. But again, it was designed to keep us divided. But I feel like there is nothing wrong with having different viewpoints on different subjects or topics because everybody goes through different experiences. For example, like when you brought up religion, you brought up your belief in God and how some people may not believe God or may not see God the way you see him. There's nothing wrong with like that person having a viewpoint. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing.
There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that because everybody goes through different experiences. You can like maybe something you experience is not something they experience, so they can't
Hmm.
relate to what you talking
Hmm.
about. But it's okay to hear them out because again, their experience is not your experiences. But we feel like, oh, everybody got to agree with this, you know, when it comes to what I say, and that we choose to tune other people out
Yeah.
when they don't agree with us. And I'll have to be honest with y'all, like I was once like that, when I was younger, like when people used to disagree or people didn't see the way I saw it, like sometimes I would just shut them out and be like, oh, you're wrong, like you don't know what you're talking about. But now that I've gotten older and matured, I realize like it's okay to be different because I realize
Yeah.
that not everybody is going to agree with you, and that's just the reality, that's just life. But I'm not going to disrespect them or look at them any less than as a human because they have different viewpoints. Because we've all been created with different mindsets. That's how God created us. He created us. He created everybody differently. Like when you look, nobody is the same as you. Everybody is different than you are. So again, that's how it was designed. But we've been taught that differences are a threat, but it's really
Mm-hmm.
not. That's what really like
Yeah.
allows us to learn from each other, and we miss that because we so caught up in, oh, this person ain't Democrat, this person ain't Republican, this person ain't Christian, this person ain't, he ain't black, he ain't white. It's like, bruh, you have been trained to think that way. But you have to get out of that train of thought to thinking, all black people is this, but all white people is this, all Christian people is like this, all atheist people like this. It's like at the end of the day, we all people. We all on this earth. And I don't feel like we were brought here to argue with each other back and forth. I don't believe that. I don't believe we
No.
was here to be divided. I believe we was here to come together because we are in a society where it's like, okay, like individualism is praised. Where it's like, oh, I can be independent. Like, I don't need nobody else. I can do everything by myself. But you can do that. And you may think you can go faster by yourself, but you can go further with others helping you.
Yep.
You know what I'm
That's so
saying?
true.
So we got to get out this individualistic mindset to where it's like, oh, we can't, oh, we don't need this, we don't need this person, we don't need that person. I
Yeah.
can do everything by myself. Like I don't need no help. I got it on my own. See, we've been taught to think that way, but in reality, if we come together, we can accomplish so much more. We can make the
I
world a
think,
better place.
yeah, it's kind of like it's that I call it the one track mind. It brings back that term that use of term one track mind. A lot of people don't. It's as if everybody's asleep. The way I look at it, and they're sleeping, and they think that the only it's like yeah, I can't even describe. It's like they're sleeping. They don't believe that there are other ways that people were that people have been brought up and that people perceive things or perception, and everybody's perception is their reality, so it's not always going to be the same to yours. But where did we start losing the respect for others? Where do we start losing that curiosity of just respect in all veils? It brings to mind another story I had, of the use of the word namaste. I had an experience from a person who actually said to me at one point, you can't use that word. And now I live here in Puerto Rico, so we're all Puerto Rican, but we're all different types of colors. There's black Puerto Ricans, there's the whitest of white Puerto Ricans. So here we don't really worry about racism, and everybody's welcome. Like everybody that comes to Puerto Rico says, "You guys are so nice here." Every time I pick up, and you guys know I do Uber on the side. And when I did it, so I said to them, "How do you like Puerto Rico?" People are so just genuinely nice here, ready to help you, ready to lend a helping hand. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the resilience we have. But this person was not a person from here. And namaste, like if I'm correct, because I looked it up. After that, I said I'm pretty sure it means just peace, kind of like peace be with you, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I didn't say it because I believe in anything, but I guess my point is the person just had this one track mind to where, oh, you can't say that because you're not Hindu, you can't say that because you're not this. And I said to the person, I said, I don't have to be. I'm just saying peace be with you. And it just brought to mind, it sits with this what we're talking about right now, um, being able to just peacefully talk to someone else and say, hey, this is what I think, and this is what I believe, because that conversation on the other end turned into somewhat of an argument on their behalf. And I had to kind of cut the argument because I wasn't ready to argue. I hate arguing. So I was just like, okay, well, that's fine. You can believe what you want to believe. I will believe what I want to believe. And I said to the person, but it is not your job to tell anyone else what they can and cannot do. That is up to the person. And she said, well, that's fair enough. The person said, well, that's fair enough. And so I let it go. And we never really spoke about it again. I think the second time we tried to speak about it, the person still couldn't understand and still couldn't have a civilized conversation. So I kind of just left it at that. Although they apologized and I apologized because I always apologize because I feel like if I said something wrong, then I'll apologize. And I want to get that out the way. I don't want to be that one because sometimes you say things and you don't realize. So apologize. It's not that hard, and make sure that when you apologize, your behavior changes along with that. Um, and so it apologized. That person is no longer here or was here. I'm not quite sure. But uh, it just goes to show and prove your point that we have to get off that one track mind. We have to leave that totally behind if we're going to make a difference today in this world, if we're going to really reach out and connect those bridges. Because what I'm seeing now in this world is a division of minds, a division of peace. There's no peace anymore. What peace do we find? We have to make that peace. But like you said, we don't even reach out to our neighbors. I have to thank God because my neighbors, even though I didn't know them, I came in, I started talking with them. All my neighbors are very nice. All my neighbors are they see me, hello, how are you? We all say hi to each other. So I'm very grateful for that. But I've maintained that regardless of what they believe, regardless of what they do in their home or their house or outside or what I see them doing. Why? Because that is none of my business. What is my business is to show and to be the person I was meant to be,
Mm.
which is happy, which is how God created me, which is peaceful, which is making connections with others and just making an imprint on those lives that need it. And I'm not going to show up and just be mean because someone else has a different lifestyle than I do. That's not for me what life is all about. And so when I see these things happening, it really it hits a spot in me.
Hmm.
It hits that spot.
And I I think another thing too is like I think the problem is a lot of us we tend to see through other people's lenses where it kind of doesn't allow us to see through our own lens. So what we're used to doing is like we're used to the reason like a lot of us may feel some type of way before we even like get to see what it's really like. Like for example, it's like maybe like you want to take a trip to another country and let's say you've been in the US for all your life, you never traveled outside the country, but then you have somebody tell you, oh, don't go over here, don't go over to Europe, don't go over to Africa, they got this over here, these people this, what I'm saying, these people mean, they nasty, it's nasty over here. Like people will try to paint a picture of what things are like from their lens, but I feel like we don't ever see through our own lens because we spend time looking through somebody else's lens. So the problem with that is we tend to miss out on what things can really be for our experience because we so used to having people tell us what it's like. And I feel
I
like
see what you think. Yeah.
and I feel like that's the same with like how we feel about each other. And the
Yeah.
reason why it's so hard for us to come together and speak to one another. It's like it's so crazy. Like you'll be in the same area as somebody, they don't even say nothing to you. Like you can be walking down the street, you see your neighbor, you wave, they don't say nothing. And it's like you gotta
Yeah.
like, why is that? And that's because they probably already have a picture painted in their head from somebody else about you that is not even true. And they're gonna assume that that picture that somebody else painted for them is accurate. But people
Yeah.
get it wrong all the time.
It's funny that you say that because that's happened. Like people will sit there and say, oh, that person so and so and so and so does so and so and so and so, and it's like this. That's why I don't like the person. But yet that person with me has been the nicest person ever and has not shown me any of what this person has painted. So again, it goes back to what you're talking about. We so busy trying to look at other people and making up our own. It's like we make up our own. Sometimes we make up like our own construct of a person of or a situation that happened. We so busy constructing on that. We don't really take the time out to see if it's really true or is this really real. Observe the situation, observe the person for yourself. Don't sit here and go on what someone else has said. Sometimes I excuse myself from so many conversations when they start to go into the route of, well, I don't like this person because this person did such and such, and this person is like this, and this person did this. And I'm like, you don't even spend really time with it. Because I'm thinking to myself, well, you really don't spend time with the person because from what I know, you're always with these people or you're always with your person. And so, how do you know so much about this person or this situation when I know you weren't there? So, I like to take myself out of situations like that. And not because I don't think I should stand up for the person or anything. I just don't like to involve myself in gossip. I'm not very much of a gossipy person. Now, if there's a truth to be told, then of course that truth should be told at the right time. Like, listen, no, that's not how it happened. I was there. This is what it was. Or I tend to say to people sometimes, well, do we really have facts on that? Can we prove that? People don't like that though either. Because when you say, well, we have facts, well, they'll come up with some subservient, like some, well, yeah, but that's for you to look up. I've got that in conversation too. Well, that's for you to know. Wait a minute. You're the one claiming this. You're the one. So where do we go? How do we know what's fact, not fact? How do we stay in our lane? How do we just, I simply just observe. I do like my grandfather. Oh, what a great man. He used to say, silence is like gold. And sometimes your silence is like gold because sometimes there are conversations that just don't need to be had or you don't need to be a part of because they are not conducive. They don't drive you to anything. And then what it does is further separate when we should be uniting as people.
That's why it's important to do your own research. That's why I'm gonna say when people say do your research, you got to do it for yourself because again, you got to have a mind of your own. You got to be able to paint your own perspectives. And I feel like we don't do that enough because we always relying on other people's perspective. For example, the news. We watch the news, man. The news, man. Let me tell you something, man.
They will take something and beat
If
it to
you rely
death.
on if you rely on the news, man, shoot, man, they be lying to your face every day. The news, man, is so one sided. They'll only paint a perspective of what they want you to think. That's how the news works. The news
Yeah,
stands, and I heard this acronym. The news stands for North, East, West, South. So what that means, they spread the same BS throughout the whole region, and they'll
yeah,
make
they'll take something that's actually happened and then build it up to be like that's the only thing that happened, and it causes dividation. Listen to me. It causes division. Being bilingual is such a problem sometimes because you want to say things in Spanish and they come out in English. But it takes it and it leads you down this narrow path. Like, I mean, just even with the whole, I mean, when it was Black Lives Matter and then they portrayed certain things that were happening and that wasn't even like half of what was happening, and it was such a debacle and such a mess that I think that's when I stopped listening to the news and I started researching myself
yeah,
because I was like, no, there is no way that this is exactly like this. And I won't get into it because that's a whole nother subject in itself. But it just goes to show that yes, there was division, and there is, it happens here politically all the time in Puerto Rico. There's a division, people want to believe one thing because they think that that's the only way, and there's not. It's not. So yes, they will have you believing what they want you to believe.
yeah. And when we say they, we talking about the people that's basically, running the thing, like the
Yeah.
government, the government. And again, like I know we getting deep into it, but I'm just trying to put y'all on game because again, it's like you got to really think like, who is it that's controlling the media? Who is it that's controlling the data? Who is it that's painting these pictures in our heads to think
Yeah,
certain ways about certain things? You know what I'm saying? Because
exactly.
again, like I said before, when you're born into this world as a child, you're not thinking about a whole bunch of things that you think about now, like a lot of the political differences, the social differences. You ain't thinking about that. When you see another child, yo, as a child in the child's mind, when they see another child, what they trying to do, they just trying to play. They trying to be like, oh, you trying to play with my toy, you know what I'm saying? You trying to, you know, hang out, do all this stuff. Like when children is playing, they ain't thinking about, oh, this child black, like or this child white. I don't know about it. But again, you got to realize the evolution of the human is when we get fed with different types of outlets from different people on TV, different articles we read. That's where we start to grow up, or even our parents will try to put stuff in our minds to make us think a certain way about different things that's not even true. That's just something that they heard from somebody else.
Yeah.
So a lot of it comes from what we consume our minds with. And so that
Mm-hmm.
really play a big part on okay, how we see the world. What I'm trying
Yeah.
to tell you with the 9 minutes that we have left is one, y'all need to figure out, come up with your own perspective by doing your own research. Second thing, I definitely challenge y'all to do is get to know people in your community. Don't be scared to
Yep.
talk to them. I feel like this is where
Yeah.
we start. We start by communicating with each other. This
Mm-hmm.
is how we break the barrier. This is how we break the divide is by coming together. And that starts with communication because communication is key. You see what I'm saying? A lot of incidents happen because of miscommunication. So that's really, that's where it stems from. Wars happen, miscommunication. Shootings happen, miscommunication. Arguments happen, miscommunication. In some way, in some form of communication, something is not clicking.
Lacking.
So,
Yeah.
so where we got to start is we got to learn how to come together as a community. We all live in certain communities, whether it's apartment complexes, neighborhoods, subdivisions, whatever. We all live in communities, but why is it that we fighting with each other in the community when we have nothing to do with you paying bills? If you mad because you got to pay bills every 30 days, we ain't making you. The people in your community ain't making you pay bills every 30 days. They ain't making you go to work 5 days for 12 hours a week. They ain't making you do that. Or not,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, 50, 60 hours a week. They ain't making you do that. They ain't the ones taking taxes out of your paycheck and making you have to try to earn them back at the end of at the end of the year. They ain't doing that.
Yeah.
So you gotta realize that most of the stuff that you have problems with, it had nothing to do with people in your community. They
No.
just like you. They trying to live, they trying to make a living just like you. But what would happen if we were to just really get to know our neighbors and really come together? That would be the most powerful thing that could ever happen. So again, try to meet your neighbors, man. Try to like speak to people. Don't be scared to speak to people. And I'm gonna do this too, man. I've been doing this lately. Like when I see people, I'll be waving, you know what I'm saying? I'll be trying to talk to them for real.
It's
So
funny that you say that, Chris, because with the little time remaining that we have left, real quickly, I gave that as a challenge to one of my clients. See what happens. Even just simply open up conversation. Go to your neighbor and say, listen, that's a nice blouse. I like the way your hair is. Oh, tight sneakers, whatever it is. Reach out to that person and just see the difference in conversation or that person smile or light up. Maybe that person needed it that day. Maybe that's what that person was looking for that day. You never know what a person's going through on that note as well. So just open up that conversation. I challenge you and see what happens, and you'll see the difference. Because instead of creating division, let's create unity, man. Let's
yeah,
create a unity of different minds. How boring would we be if we all believe the same? Are
yeah,
all thought the same way. So I challenge everyone out there listening to this the same thing. Go ahead, do it. Because I know I do it. I've made it a habit of mine.
yeah. And last thing is don't like when you're talking to those people and you find out some differences, man, like don't tune them out, hear them out. You say again,
Yeah.
don't tune them out, hear them out. So again, it's like hear what they have to say and be respectful about it. And just be like, okay, at the end of the day, if they say something that you may not vibe with at the end, just be like, look, like I see where you're coming from. I don't agree with that, but again, I still see you. I still respect you as a person.
Yep.
And again, if you just learn how to compromise and just agree to disagree, again, man, we could create such a better place in this world because again, a lot of this stuff is on us. Like a lot of the stuff that happens, it's on us. So we got to we're the only ones that can stop it. So we change our thinking. we could change the trajectory of this world. So just think about that, man, as you go about your life. But anyway, man,
Yeah.
that's a wrap. That's a wrap for today's show, man. Just remind y'all real quick. Follow us on Instagram. You can follow me at Disinfecting Your Life. There's no spaces, no capitals. Once again, that's at Disinfecting Your Life. There's no spaces, no capitals. And you can also follow my girl Sandra on IG at Complete Confidence Coaching. So again, that's at Complete Confidence Coaching. We're always going to be doing something every Monday, whether it's with the podcast, whether it's the Mindset Mondays. You always going to see us every Monday doing some, trying to make an impact, trying to create a positive change, because that's what we about, man. That's our whole brand, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of this negative stuff, man. I'm tired of seeing this
Me
negative
too.
stuff. All these folks arguing with each other, man. We gotta come together, man. We gotta spread some
We sure do.
positivity, man. It's all this nonsense going on. So again, that's what we're trying to do, man. We just really trying to promote positivity, and definitely share this content, man. Let us know how you feel about it. Let us know. We want to hear your feedback, man. And like I said, spread this to people who you love, spread this to your family, your friends, you know, your coworkers, anybody you know, man. Because again, I'm tired of seeing all this BS getting blown up for no reason when it had nothing to do with nothing. You know what I'm saying? We out here, we trying to like make an influence, try to make an impact. You know what I'm saying? So again, go ahead and spread this content for real. Me and Sandra's content. You already know
Yeah.
find this on Instagram. Definitely go check it out. Um, and then I'll also, if you check out my Instagram page, you see a link. You got all the links to my channels, my merch, my connect calls, and my book, which hopefully Sandra you put in your cart. I actually had
It
somebody
is
got.
in my cart. It's in
All
my
right.
cart. It's in my
Okay.
cart. I
Hey,
plan to
that's
put it in my cart.
hey. You know what? Hey, that's a step. That's a step in the right direction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
that's
in my
what's
cart.
up. That's what's up. Yeah, actually, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they actually decided to go ahead and get it, and so I'm really excited about that. You know, what I'm saying I never really like. I wasn't like, hey, you should go buy it. I was just like, hey, like I got a book out there, and she was interested, so she, got the book. So, hey, I'm telling you, man, it's a great read, really short read, only like 46 pages. So I know how much y'all like to read, so I kept that in mind. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
But anyway, man, that's enough for today's episode, man. This your boy, Chris Simmons, alongside my partner in crime, Sandra Cruz. We out, y'all. Take care. We see y'all next Monday.
See
Peace.
you next week.